You're welcome to another episode of Fading Thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the previous episodes and I hope you remember to leave your comments, like the video, and subscribe on this channel. So today, I have with me three lovely guests. I have Veronica, Majid, and Shay.
Hi guys, welcome back.
Thank you so much, guys, for being here with me once again. I really enjoyed our previous video together, and I'm hopeful that today's is also going to be another interesting topic. So, today we're going to be talking about walking out of an abusive relationship. As we all know, I'm sure we have all seen the video that's been circulating around of the gospel singer who died due to domestic violence. Obviously, you would not expect that anyone in the kind of space that she is in, being a gospel singer, being someone who is a pastor's wife, you would not imagine that they would even be going through anything of such. And even if they were going through such, you would not even expect that they would remain in such a relationship. That's the reason why I'm going to talk to you guys today. What do you think about this? Because I would like us to actually take a case as a case study. We know that ever since issue happened, we have seen a lot of stories on social media, a lot of people calling off weddings, a lot of people talking about how they have been abused domestically, emotionally, verbally, in relationships, marriages. I would like to know, why don't these women, or even men, don't they walk away from these relationships? Why do they insist on staying? And how can they take that bold step of leaving? Veronica, let's start with you.
Okay. Oh, it's so sad.
I know.
What has happened, but something that makes women or men not leave relationships that are abusive is the culture, the society that we live in.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
The culture that stigmatizes you, especially for people who are married. It stigmatizes you and it doesn't even it will never leave you. You'll be called a divorcee. You feel like the whole world will come crashing on you, and that has pushed people to stay in marriages.
True.
People will say they are staying for their kids. People have stayed for just the sake of, I want to be married.
Yeah.
Because of how society would treat them when they do come out. The lack of a support system. You've seen cases where even when women or men want to leave, their families do not support them. Their families tell them to go and endure. It's part of marriage life, something that it's a process you have to go through. It will stop. You have to be with the man. You know, that culture that doesn't allow for people to express themselves, to say, this is what I'm even going through. A lot of people even go through it in silence. They can't even tell their friends, they can't tell colleagues, they can't tell people what they are going through. And these are just a few of the reasons that,
Shay, what do you
sad
think?
things
Why
happen.
do you think they remain? Why do you think they're not willing to leave?
Okay, first off, thank you again for having me here.
Thank you for being
And may the soul of Evangelist Osinachi rest in peace.
Amen.
I would never hear that song the same way again. I would always hear that song, that Ikueme song, as a cry for help. I know someone very close to me actually that stayed in an abusive relationship for a long time, and she had 3 kids. And she left after 30 years. She just got up and fell and gone, And when I asked her why she stayed, she said when the kids were younger, she always said, I would never take my kids out of their comforts for my own comforts, right? She's someone that is very selfless, and she stayed, to the end. And I always say, no man will ever do that to me. That's first of all. So by God's grace, I hope God answers my prayers.
Amen.
Why do people stay? In addition to culture, I feel like it's just that hope that, he will change. He will never change. And then, everybody's saying this topic, like, if you are in an abusive relationship, leave. It's better to be a divorcee, regardless of what people think. People will talk anyway, right? It's better to be a divorcee than to be dead. So why do they stay? In addition to culture, I feel like it's, oh, they will change, oh, my kids. But if you can create a stable enough situation or situation for your kids and yourself, take them to a hotel for a few days just to calm your head down. And then if a man is beating you, beat him back. Yes. If a man should raise his hands to you the first time, hit him back. Let's see who will continue hitting each other. That is self-defense, in my opinion. Because why are you hitting me in the first place? If you cannot speak to me with your voice, then let's use our hands. Let's see who's crazy. That's my own talk, It might not be popular opinion, but that's my own talk.
Well, okay, all right. I love it. We'll come back to that. Majid, you are the guy here. I would like to know what your opinion is. I would like you to give me your opinion in two separate views. The view of the man that can actually raise his hands towards a woman.
Okay.
Why do you think men go to that extent of not just speaking, not just warning their women or not just walking away? Why do you think they go to that extent of actually abusing a woman? And then I also would like to know why you think men that are also being abused in their own sector, in their own ways, why do you think they also keep quiet? What do you think this thing?
First of all, I feel like it takes a weak man to raise his
Thank
hands
you for that.
on a woman.
True.
That's one. And then for me, I feel like it is very, very important for people to understand that it's okay to leave. You can't just stay back and say that I'm staying for my kids. What's going to happen to your kids when you're no more?
Yeah.
That's a very, very important thing. And sometimes for the men, I feel like it goes down to what they have seen in the past, how their parents fought, and maybe how his father has been treating his mom or
Yes,
something.
yes.
So it's important to keep this kind of conversation going. We need to understand that a relationship or marriage is not war, as some people take it.
True.
If
But then we really can't say that domestic violence is hereditary.
We cannot.
If we're saying that it's mostly because of what they have seen their parents do. I have seen my father do a lot of things, and I've seen my mother do a lot of things. But then I grew up to say, hey, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to take a separate path from what they are taking. Why can't they just do that? Must they follow what their parents did?
I think that it also goes down to experiences. There are certain experiences that shape people as you, a young person or a young kid as you grow up. So you're going to go one way or the other. So if you've experienced your father treat your mother, you either take what you've seen or you make that decision to never be that person. I think that it goes both ways. But some people, it affects their psyche. That they never even plan. Some will never even plan to do that. But the fact that they continuously lived this, some see it as being okay. They see it as right. So that's why, like Abdulmajid said, the conversation with boys has to start, has to keep going on. It's a continuous conversation that mothers, sisters have to have with their sons. I think that most times in the Nigerian home, I will refer to the Nigerian setting, mothers put more emphasis on raising their daughters rather than on raising their boys. So I think that there has to be a shift, there has to be a conversation that changes that narrative to ensure that this discussion is had both with men and both with young women and both with men.
I understand you, but how do you convince a man who doesn't know that what he's doing is wrong, who thinks he's doing the right thing? How do you convince him to get
You don't convince, you set up laws. For example, the government should set up policies that states that domestic abuse or any domestic violence of any kind for men and women will land you automatically in jail. Once you're caught and we have the evidence, we take you to jail. It's just that our justice system is not exactly like the way we want it to be, but we can't get there. In addition to conversations about with men and women, because domestic violence goes both ways. We keep saying in the news that some girl killed some Nigerian guy in the UK and in Slovenia, like different places. So people are beginning to use their hands more. I don't understand why. Like, what happened to the normal one-on-one conversation? Why are we beating each other? That's why I said, if anybody should beat you, beat the person back. Let's show that you're both animals. Maybe when we do that, we can say, okay, no more beating, let's stop. Because if you beat me, if I cower, you will find strength in my cowering. But if you beat me, I beat you back. Know that, okay, don't mess with her. Let's have a conversation.
But just to
That's how I feel.
Just to add to what Sharon says, we actually
Shay.
have Shay. Just to add what Shay said,
Yes.
we have laws in place.
Yes.
So the problem is awareness, people being aware. They have the Violence Against Persons Act, the VAP Act. You have the Child Rights Act, which protects children in Nigeria, and you have other states who have domesticated that into their laws. But we don't see where people have knowledge of the VAP Act. There are some states in Nigeria that are still yet to even domesticate those laws to even protect people in their states.
I do have a aunt who also went through domestic abuse.
I'm sorry.
She had it so bad, and although I was quite young then, something I did not quite hear, or something I couldn't find from then is how she never wanted to have the man reported. That. So it was not until she was forcibly removed from that situation, from the marriage, before she started to understand that, okay, even when she was forcibly removed, she still went back a few times. It was not until when she almost lost her life that she realized that, okay, maybe I'm not doing the right thing for my kids. If these laws are available, yes, they are available. If justice system is fine, okay, what if the woman does not even want to report? What if she doesn't want anything to happen to the father of her children? She doesn't want her husband to go to jail. She doesn't want her husband to be labeled as an abuser.
I think
What do you
one
do
thing
then?
that's very important is everybody should know that if someone loves you, they will never hit you.
True.
Now, the moment someone hits you, that should change your side. Like that should just change the whole narrative in your head, and you know, okay, it's time to leave. The first time should be the only time. If it happens again and again, then I think there's room for excuses. Oh, my children this. Oh, my children that. Now, the question: what if she doesn't want the person to be labeled an abuser? What if? That's a very good question, because that's what is happening now in our homes, in different homes, right? At that point, I think it's up to the woman, or the man.
You know, what is prevalent now in the North is ladies taking back statements. I've seen a lot of situations whereby the lady will go to the police station and say that that's not what really happened, and that she's willing to take back what she said earlier.
Why do you think that is there?
Coercion, she's been forced
She's-
to cover
yes,
the shame.
no,
So they
but
tell you you're
sometimes-
covering your family. They say
But-
you're exposing the family, so you need to cover your family.
True.
They'll say it's a
That's-
family business. We should settle it within
As
the
a family, it's totally wrong. It's wrong.
We all agree that once a man begins to hit a woman, it never really stops.
It doesn't stop.
The moment he hits her or she hits him, and there's always, oh, please, he would beat more. But the moment you hit, I say, if you hit me again, I would kill you. Just say it. It's self-defense. You can take it to court. I'm sure you know it, right? No, let's talk real talk, because I feel like this is a very touchy topic that people don't want to really dissect. Everybody's saying, oh, find strength in a woman. It's a very touchy topic for me. Everybody's saying, oh, as a woman, you need to find strength. But I feel like the moment a man should hit you the first time and you hit back, or you threaten to hit back, you would show a certain level of defense that he wouldn't come back for. And if it's happening over and over and over again, then someone needs to talk to that woman. For example, now, may she rest in peace, Evangelist Osinachi. When the pastor of her church came out to say the whole story, and how the sister also knew. So your sister knew you were being battered, and she didn't say anything because you begged her. No, if I'm your friend and I see that someone is hitting you, I will join you to beat the person, but I'll not go and report. That's what I'm supposed to do, not cover it up.
Well, we've also heard stories about a woman trying to, fight for herself, stand up for herself, and then even provoking the man more, to the extent that, yes, it gets things up her mother. It kills her faster. Of course, a lot of women are going to be scared to even provoke such a man. A man that is already dangerous in his own making. How do you want to even provoke him further?
Leave.
I think that
That's just it.
I think that
Leave.
the conversation around should also be around us being aware. So people need to become aware to say, what do I do? Or what steps do I take when I see someone who is experiencing domestic violence? the first step you should make is to ensure, what does this person want? What does this person need? The first step is taking this person away from the immediate danger. That's the first
And if they
step.
don't want to leave,
It's about having a conversation. You start, because most times it takes time for the person to realize what is happening to them, how bad is what is happening to them. So it's left for you to say, okay, this is what is happening to you, and say, I'm there for you. Most times people are not ready to leave because the support is not there.
yeah.
So it's about ensuring that we are aware to know what steps can we take when we see someone experiencing it. The first step is to take the person out of there. Tell the person, I'm here for you, I'm here to support you. Try and gain a support system. There are so many non-governmental organizations, there are so many government organizations that are helping to shield women, they are helping to prosecute. So most women don't want to leave because they are not sure of what they will do next. They are not sure of shelter, they are not sure of an income. You have to have a roadmap. But the first thing is to take the person away. That's why we have shelters, right? Once a woman is sure that she can be secured, she can be protected, her family, even if her family doesn't believe her, she has friends, she has people, neighbors that will stand up for her, then she'll be able to leave. That's one step. And most times, society doesn't even believe you. They don't believe that this is happening. Sometimes they say it's your fault. What did you say to him? What did you say that made him get angry? So you need somebody that will believe you for you to even say, I need to leave to protect myself. So when you create that environment, when you have those conversations, you take the person out. The next thing is to see how you can protect the person. The person is in safety. Okay, what is the next step do? We report this person. Because you cannot allow this person continue. Because if you let the person, they'll go on to the next person. Sometimes you even see situations that when you even remove the person from that place, the person follows the person where they are.
Exactly.
But and another thing, if they see that the repercussions for their actions, like Shay rightly pointed out, they go to court and they are being prosecuted and they go to jail. They see that what they do, it will make a whole lot of difference, because it will stop people. It will act as a preventive measure from people doing that. And with that, when the person leaves, you can see how you can ensure that that person is financially capable to stand on their own. But there are people doing a lot of hard work.
I think in addition to what she said very, very, very salient points. I think the community also plays
a huge role
in this, because people don't really believe that police will come and actually, because the man can easily bribe or the woman can easily bribe. So if the community sees that we're hearing someone is friend, I grew up in a situation where I used to hear this man, our neighbor, beat his wife. She was friend, she was breastfeeding, and he would beat her like black and blue. I was 9, I remember, right? But I know that my mom then would go and knock and say, you can't continue to do this. I will beat you too. Then my brothers will come out and say, if you beat my mother, we will fight. That kind of situation. Now, if our neighbors, if we are actually our brothers keepers,
true.
If someone is beating someone, you won't just say, it's not my business, so before they beat me. No, you would speak out. Another thing we need to know is this coming generation, girls, guys, be stubborn. Don't let anybody take you for an idiot. If anybody is beating you, defend yourself in any way possible. We need to reorient our girls now that this new marriage cycle that we're entering, nobody should beat anybody, otherwise we'll find ourselves in the same process.
We also need to reorient our boys.
Yeah, boys and girls.
They should never beat the woman.
Yeah. Those are the conversations that need to go.
Majid, I would like to know something with you. Do you think that a man's lack of self-esteem is associated with him beating a woman?
Yes. And some think that it's just the easy way out. Some think that that's just the solution. That who are you for me to sit you down and start having a conversation? You know, so I don't know.
It's a very touchy topic. I'm actually
Yes, it
very
is.
upset.
It is.
I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. I like that we're having it. Discussions need to be had.
Yes.
But there's something that I want to say that is really fundamental, because in addressing this, you also have to ensure that you do not create more harm to the person. So they do no harm principle. You also have to respect that in having conversation with people who have experienced this, it's not everybody that would react the same way. Some people have slower. So in you trying to address someone or address situations of domestic violence, you have to ensure and take into cognizance that you do no harm, no further harm. You know, it's about having that conversation with the person. It takes a slow process. It's not easy bringing someone who has gone through domestic violence. So I think that it's really key that in supporting people, in believing them, we have to ensure that we do no further harm. right?
Because
And,
there's PTSD also,
Yes.
post-traumatic stress disorder. Like people will begin to be afraid, be paranoid, not be able to open up. And I like what you said about having conversations, putting yourself empathy, emotional intelligence comes into play. So thank
And
you
meeting the
guys.
right professionals.
Yes.
Because if you're able to take the person out of that place, you need to seek the help of professionals.
We're talking about therapists.
Therapists,
Or traditionalism.
In Nigeria,
and medical
Nigeria,
doctors, you need to take the
you know
person to
that
the
we
hospital.
avoid seeing therapists a lot in Nigeria for anything whatsoever because we just assume that automatically says that we have mental health issues.
I think that the conversation now around mental health and mental illnesses is getting people aware, and people are more aware that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're on the street and you're moving and running mad. It also means there are other things like depression, like PTSD, like she also mentioned. It's anxiety. People go through anxiety, PTSD, depression, especially people who are going through domestic, and they're even suicidal. So just because they feel, okay, why is this happening to me? Why am I the one facing it? People can also lose their lives in the process.
What's what you're
I
taking
feel,
on?
I feel like everything you said, yes, it is possible. It's possible to remove them from it. But then I feel like that is when they do have the right support systems.
Yeah.
For example, this gospel singer, I heard that our family, our mother knew about it, our twin sister knew about it. If your entire family knows about the pain you're going through, but then even they do not have the capacity to give you the right support system that you need to remove you from there, how then can you get the strength? And a lot of these abusers, they tend to move on to the children when they're done with the spouses. How then can you decide that enough is enough?
You know, that's where the government comes in, and a very, very important part of the bill against domestic violence is that you can report on behalf of someone. When you just see something, say something.
See something.
It doesn't have to be from the person getting abused. Just say something, and then the police will investigate, and then
And that's why I
person
said
will be taken
that
to the court.
we as a community, as Sharon says, we need to speak up. As Madrid has said, see something, say something. We don't need to be silent bystanders. We need to be active bystanders. If you see something, you say something, you report. You can't keep quiet when you see your neighbor going through. You go and report. You ensure that this person, you have evidence. You ensure that this person is brought to book. You can't let it go. You can't keep quiet.
Honestly,
You can't keep quiet
this
anymore.
episode is not something that we can finish in one day. We need to talk about this more. We need to talk about this again. And I have so many questions. I have so many scenarios that I really, really want to ask you guys. But we must come to the end of this episode right now because we're running out of time. I will, however, like to beg you to please come back for another episode on this topic. I hope you guys will oblige me.
You're begging us on camera, of course we will oblige you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for staying with us today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. And please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And once again, share my video. Thank you. God bless. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.